So hello and welcome back to a new episode of Codes Zaddy. Uh, so I have been away for a couple of weeks, a little more actually, but I'm back with a new video, hopefully an exciting video where I'll be talking about how easy it is to set up a new MCP server. It is ridiculously crazy, and I just wanted to share this with you. This video will be short, unlike the other videos. I've been hearing a lot of complaints from my friends saying that your videos are gigantic, enormous. But to be fair, the topics that I discussed in my previous videos needed that much time. This should not take that much time because it is that simple as you will see. So let's get the ball rolling. Now I am on the Python SDK GitHub page of Model Context Protocol. I will be sharing the link to this page in the video description below. And this page essentially it explains how you can set up a MCP server. So if you go to the quick start section within the README file, you will see a demo project there for creating a MCP server. And if you look at that demo project, all it does is it defines the MCP tool which adds two integers A and B. And that's it. And it also has a resource. It also has a prompt. You can, if you wish, you can choose to create all of this, but you can essentially select what you need. What you would certainly need is this definition here, which is the MCP tool and the imports that has been mentioned here. Okay, that is all you need to do. Now, this MCP server, this demo MCP server might not make that much sense because all it's trying to do is it's going to add two integers, simple enough. But what this essentially is trying to show is how you can set up MCP server based on your needs, your requirements. You just need to follow this template. So let's see how to do this. So what I've done is I'm using my IDE, which is Visual Code, Visual Insiders actually, not Visual Code. You can use any IDE that you want. Uh, so let me just open the terminal within Code Insiders. And what I will do is, if you're not already installed UV, let us install UV. Why UV? Because UV is more modern, it's faster and more efficient than pip. So we'll be using UV. To install UV, you all just need to type in Python pip install UV. I'm assuming you have already installed Python in your machine. I'm using Python 3.11, but any later version should work just as fine. Okay, it says requirement already satisfied because I had already installed this, which is absolutely fine there. Uh, Now I can double check that my UV package manager has been installed correctly, and it says, yeah, it gives me the version. So just double check that you have actually installed UV. Now let's go back to our page and initialize the project directory. So let's just copy this command. Yeah, and I've initialized my project directory. It's called MCP server demo. You can see the Python version, the main.py and the py project TOML file, which essentially contains all the dependencies that I'll be using. Okay, and this is the file which we'll be editing, the main.py. This is where you need to define what your MCP server is actually going to do. So now let us go to that project directory. Yeah, I'm within that project directory, and let's start a virtual environment. The command to start the virtual environment, it's uv space vnv. Yeah, and you have created the virtual environment. Now you need to activate it, and it very helpfully suggests the exact command that you need to use to activate the virtual environment. So you just need to copy paste it. Yeah, and your virtual environment is now activated. Now let's see what are the remaining steps that we need to do. So go back to your README file. Yeah, uh, yeah. It says add MCP to your project dependencies. So let's add that. Let me increase the screen estate. Okay, so that has been added, and it gives me an alternative that if I'm using pip, I could just use the command pip install MCP CLI. I'm not using pip, I'm using UV, so I don't need to run this command. Now, before we get to the actual code, we also need to install the fast MCP module. Though the readme.md file does not explicitly say that you have to install fast MCP, you will need it. Otherwise, when you try to run your project, it will show up that that module is not found. Um, the reason being that if you look at the code, it actually imports some modules from the fast MCP library. So you need to install it. So let's do the installation of the fast MCP. Quite straightforward. Um, UV add fast MCP. That's the command. And since I have already I'm already using this project folder for many purposes. I've already installed it. In your case, you might see some installations happening in the background, but this is the command essentially. And just to make sure that everything is in order, we'll just do a UV sync as well. Uh, and then everything seems to be fine. Okay, so we have just made sure that all packages are in sync within the UV package manager. Now let's start writing the code, and which is quite simple. Go to the module shown in the quick start and just copy paste till the dynamic greeting resource. So we're not going to copy paste the whole thing. And let's go to a main.py and paste it there. Okay. Uh, Quite simple, isn't it? So create an MCP server. This is the name of the server. Let us give it some other name. Let's give it add int, right? And we're defining the addition tool. So you can have a number of tools within your MCP server. We are having just one tool. So if you needed another tool here, you would just say repeat this step essentially and add your function, whatever you wanted. That's how we do it, as simple as that. Since this is a very simple demo, we are just going to add two numbers, and we have also a greeting resource which we would need to use in the addition tool. It's not being called directly, so this is a sort of helper function. So if you wanted, you could just call it here. Let's try to do that. So let me first edit the greeting. So I'll just call it dynamic greeting. Yeah, and a message that I want the user to see. So I'll just give something like keep roaring, and the name is something that will pass. Now, if you look into our tool there, it accepts as inputs two integers and it returns an integer. So we need to change it to actually return a string and then call the helper function. So let's see how to do that. So I'm going to replace this code. Okay. And I'm ending it slightly with a more enhanced version, if you can call it that. So you can now see that though it accepts two integers as parameters, it is now returning a string. The other things remain pretty much the same. All I've done is now I'm calling the greeting helper function, which we amended just a minute ago, and then we are just printing the results of the addition, and we are also going to return the greeting. Okay, so that's what we are trying to do here. Now let's try to run our MCP server and see what happens. So let me go back to my terminal, and to run this, you just need to put uv run python main.py. Now remember, if you are referring to the documentation here, it doesn't say main.py, it says run MCP because, or it says server.py. So it essentially means you need to run the file. You have to name the file in which you have defined your MCP server, right? So and we have used the main.py file, and that is why we'll be running the main.py file. So don't get confused there. And you can see we just got back a response, right? It just says hello from MCP server demo. There's nothing else there. Okay. And the reason being, we have not actually used an AI agent to call this function. So we are not input any numbers, but essentially what this actually shows here is that our server uh, works fine. Syntactically, it is correct. Okay. Now let us try to call this MCP server via our AI. And in our case, we'll be using Claude Desktop. Now, I'm assuming that you would already have Claude installed there. If not, just do a Google search and install Claude. I'm using the free version. You can use the free version or the paid version depending on your choice, but free version is just as fine. And what we'll be trying to do now is we'll be trying to add our MCP server that we just defined to this, and we will be trying to call that MCP server to as a tool to add to numbers and see what output we get. Now let's go back to a terminal and let's try to install our MCP server on Claude Desktop. Uh, so let, if you scroll down on the README file, you will see how to do this. So it says you can install this server in Claude Desktop and interact it with right away by running this command. Now it says you have to install server.py. It will not be server.py as I mentioned earlier. It will be main.py. But anyway, you can just copy paste this and run this. Okay. Now it says that the server has been added. Okay, we made a mistake, so it should be add int. Let's try to install it again. Yeah, so I just renamed it, also minor spelling mistake. Now let's try to go to Claude. Now before, if you have already Claude started, just close it. Okay, I'm on Windows. Make sure that you exit it completely and restart it. This is to make sure that your MCP server is actually picked up, right? And if you go to this symbol here in the prompt, this two bars with a dot there, and if you click on it, right, you can see that we now have so we have now two servers. This was what we named it earlier, AD int, and we have the add int server as well. So if you click on it, okay, it says it has a function called add. So we have successfully added it. Now, if you wanted to see the configuration of this, all you need to do is go to your file settings. All right, go to the developer option. You can see all the MCP servers that has been added here. If you want to see the configuration, the actual configuration, click on edit config. It will take you to the JSON file, Claude desktop config.json file. This is my Windows machine. So if you're using a Mac or Linux, the structure might be a bit different, but essentially uh, the method remains the same on what you need to do. So you could just to open it with any editor, you can see what all has been added, right? So you can see you have your add int and the server we added earlier, which I'm going to delete as this does not make any sense. Okay, I don't need two servers there. So this is your configuration. You could just copy paste this configuration and add it to your VS Code Insiders or a VS Studio Code, and it would work just as well. You could add your MCP server there as well. So within VS Code, you need to edit your mcp.json file. That is where your MCP configuration lies. You just need to copy paste this section and put it there, and it will work just as fine. But since you're using Claude Desktop, I'm not going to go into that there. Okay. And essentially, what this section does is it tells you to use the uv.exe command, and it explicitly states where my main.py file resides within my local computer. Since I'm running it locally, I need to explicitly specify the path where my main.file is, and I'm giving the arguments by which mcp.cli, the command line interface, can run this Python file. Okay, so let me close this. I'll just save this just in case. Right. Let me go back to Claude, right? And let me go back to the prompt. Okay, make sure that the add int is there. And what I'll do is I'll just ask it to add two integers. Add, add let me say add 345 and 456. Use the add int tool. Now I'm specifically asking it to use the add int tool because sometimes it just doesn't use the tools that we have provided it, the MCP tools that we have provided it. So if you explicitly ask it, it will use the tool. So let's try running this now, and hopefully it should use the tool. It should ask you for the permission to use the tool. Let's see if it does that. Yeah, it says it would like to use this tool add-in, and this is the tool that we defined. How cool is that? I always allow it. And you can see the result is 801. If you wanted to see the actual workings, you just need to click on expand this drop down, and you can see this is the request that was sent, and the response that it got was 801. Keep roaring, tiger. So the exact thing that we actually sent it there, right? So we sent it a greeting and we asked it to return the result of the addition and the greeting. So this is what is shown there. Excellent. So our MCP server works. Similarly, you could try running any MCP servers that you wanted additionally. So I have quite a few, I've done quite a few experiments here. And one of the tools that I've developed is the Levenstein distance tool. It's a quite an interesting tool that you can use to determine whether two strings are alike. Where you can use this tool, you can use it in any projects where you need to compare phonetics. So, for example, you could have two persons who are named similarly, but you wanted to actually retrieve any persons with the same phonetic sound. So, for example, Joanne and John, they sound the same. And if you want to retrieve, and if the user types Joanne, you want it to actually retrieve from the database all the similarly phonetically sounding names that are similar with Joanne. So you could have John, you could have Johann, and all those things. So you could use such algorithms to retrieve phonetically similar names there. Uh, and this is just one example. So you could have something like metaphonal phonetics algorithm. You could implement that, which is a very commonly used algorithm to do a phonetic search. So I'm using Levenstein distance algorithm, and if you look at the tools that I'm using, so it has some helper functions, but the actual tools, it calculates the Levenstein distance, which I'll be demoing in a minute. It calculates the distance with a matrix. It calculates the similarity ratio. It finds the closest match for a given input string, and so on and so forth. I've already added this to the MCP, sorry, to the Claude desktop. So if I go back here, okay, and then if I start a new chat, you can see I've already added this So I've added this and I've enabled all the tools. So it lists all the tools available within that MCP server, the Levenstein distance server. And let me try just running this before I wind up this video. And the prompt I'll be using is yeah, calculate the phonetic similarity of the names Joan and Joanne. And I'm explicitly asking it to use the Levenstein distance tool and use all tools. So I want to see the results of using all the tools. Let me try running this. Since I've already run this before, it will not ask for the permissions again. I've just asked always allow Claude Desktop to use this tool. Yeah, you can see it is calculating it one by one. So it's calculating the Levenstein distance, right? Okay, similarity ratio. It's asking for the permission because I had actually disengaged that tool and I engage it again. So that's the only permission it will be asking. It should work for all other tools. You can see how cool it is that, right? So I'm trying to retrieve the phonetic similarity between John and Joanne, and I've got all my results, right? So it says the Levenstein distance, it's only one character. The similarity ratio, it's 75% similar. The required operation, it just needs one substitution of H with A. And it gives a overall summary of what is done. And if you wanted to see what each tool does, you just need to expand on the drop downs. You can see string John for edit operations. It's just one with one operation. You can actually make it the same. The actual matrix, the detailed matrix of both the strings that is required. What is the similarity ratio? It's 0.75 that has been returned, and the actual Levenstein distance calculation there. So quite cool, isn't it? And this is just to give an idea of what all you can do with the tool. So actually the sky is the limit. You can define what you want to do with the tool and how you want to run it. And with that, we have come to the end of another episode of Code Study. Hope you really enjoyed this video. And if you found that my work works for you, please do like and subscribe because it will help this video reach more people and it will help to, this community to grow essentially. So till we meet again, adios.